We have, you mentioned Dylan Brooks, free agency. We've talked a lot about how the Sacramento Kings are going to improve headed into a season next year with certainly a different set of expectations than they had entering this year.
Mhm.
And we've talked about the likes of Dylan Brooks, OG Anunoby, Kelly Oubre,
Mhm.
Cam Johnson. Free agency, we really have kind of stuck. I guess OG's more of a trade, but we've really kind of stuck into the free agency pool and then hypothesized about potential deals that could be out there with the usual suspects of names or guys headed into the final year of their contracts and how Sacramento could get involved in some of those conversations. But you have been pretty consistent from jump that while all of that is important, you believe the Sacramento Kings can actually get better, maybe even significantly better with the pick that they're going to have at 24.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not alone here. A lot of people have talked about how deep this draft is. I mean, the first round is crazy. With some of the potential talent. It is. Remember, it is just potential talent. Like nothing is proven. We don't know what's going to happen with these guys when they get to the NBA. But some of these prospects that are going to be available late in the first round are some really good ball players. And I think we're just because we're not in the lottery and in the 20s. I think 24 officially. We don't think about that pick as being a really good ball player, somebody that can contribute to immediate success. And I look at this as with the deepness of the draft, an opportunity if you hit it to get a big time player on the cheap,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
be able to develop that player. And I know Monty and all those guys are doing their due diligence, but it's a big opportunity here for the Kings to add to their roster and also add. I keep saying an impact player, but I'm looking at a guy that could fill a need, like a 3-and-D guy, somebody on the wing that can obviously defend a little bit, but I want a knockdown shooter. I want a big time scorer. I think this playoff run showed you may need another one of those. You need another guy that can create his own shot. That you, I don't think I'm a big. You can't ever have too much offense. That's just the way that I believe. You can't have too many guys that can make a shot, that can create their own shot. So yeah, the offense was great. I want to stockpile those type of guys. In this draft is an opportunity to find a young guy like that on the cheap.
Do you have names in mind? Have you started the process
I
of
haven't
looking at
really. I mean, I've seen mock drafts, and there is a the guy out of Ohio State, Bryce.
Bryce Sensabaugh,
Yeah, he's. I've seen him. I
who's
think.
labeled as a 2-3? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, he's 6'6". He looks like a really big
he
dude.
does.
He looks really big.
Not to go lean on you, but it looks.
He looks like a big dude.
Yeah.
He ain't hungry.
No.
But he's 6'6". He's listed as a 2-3. He's one of the three guys I was reading about this morning.
Yeah, knockdown shooter,
Mm-hmm.
can create his own shot. That's a guy that has me intrigued.
And a freshman.
Hmm. And
Okay.
I think they say he wasn't supposed to be. He wasn't looked at as one of those one and done guys, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has such a great season.
Mm-hmm.
He's in there. He's going to be a first round pick. So that's the type of guy. And when I saw him, that's the type of guy I'm looking at. That's the type of guy that maybe take a swing with at that 24 spot. But I want a guy. I know a lot of people will be talking about 3-and-D guys and defenders and wing defenders and all that. I get that. I understand that. I kind of feel like you have that with Kessler Edwards already, a young guy that's just looked at as a wing defender. I need somebody and go give me a bucket. That's something that kept going through my head during these playoffs is outside of the system, outside of the offense that's being ran, who can I give the ball to in isolation and say I need two or I need three, make a shot, be a shot maker in this situation. We're hoping Keegan can develop into that, but if he does or he doesn't, it really doesn't matter in the respects to who you should be looking to draft. I want another bucket getter on this squad.
NBC Sports was the second mock draft I looked at,
Mm,
and they had Bryce Sensabaugh from
mm,
Ohio State. First one I looked at was USA Today. I was
mm,
surprised to see that they had Chris Murray there at
mm.
24 for Sacramento.
Yeah, and Chris
Um,
Murray's in that range.
and NBC, just because it like that USA was today was the first one I looked at. There was Chris Murray. I was like, oh, okay. I think NBC had him at like 17,
Mhm.
and I looked at CBS. I think they had him at 19. CBS was the one that kind of caught my attention. Jaime Jaquez Jr.
Mm,
from UCLA. Couple of things stood out immediately about him. He's a senior,
mhm,
which immediately made me think, feel like Monty would like that.
mhm,
And the description on Jaime he's the most, stop me if this sounds familiar, please. He was the most ready guy potentially in the first round.
mhm.
Like he'll walk onto an NBA court and contribute for you right away. He could potentially be a role player on a high end team, a championship for years to come,
Mhm.
and that stood out to me in his description.
I liked him at UCLA for sure.
And I think he's listed as a 2,
Yeah,
but his highlight reel
he's like a 3.
sure looked like a 3 to
Yeah,
me.
I want to say off the top of my head, he's like 6'6",
Mhm.
maybe even 6'7". Um,
He play if
skilled.
he's listed, he is listed as a 2. He he is a 3. Like his you go watch his packages on YouTube or wherever you get your highlight packages from.
Yeah.
Like he plays like a 3,
I like his
and they
game.
play him like a 3.
I liked his game at UCLA. Off the top of my head, and it may not matter. I mean, he can go where he goes. I feel like he's more of a second round guy
Mm,
than using my first round pick
okay.
on him. But I mean, maybe he's going in the first round regardless. I've seen another mock. I think it was the Ringer mock draft from Kevin O'Connor that has Jaime going in the first round as well.
I was
So
gonna say, you know what I didn't look is to see what the other sites I was looking at had him listed as.
yeah, so he might be consensus in the first round in a number of these mock drafts, but I look at him as more of a second round type guy. And I don't like him more than I like Bryce. I like
Bryce right now
Bryce.
is your 1.
And I haven't done a big deep dive. There's other guys I want to look at. I saw Kobe Jones out of Xavier. I saw him mock to the Kings. I think it was in the Ringer one as well. I want to look more at him, but Bryce is the one that I've seen that.
In this USA Today one, they got 6'6", 235, and double check that
That's what Stephen
235.
Brown thinks he is.
Leave Stephen Brown alone. They have him going 20th to the ultimate draft developers, the Golden State Warriors. Which you can say that seriously and sarcastically. This one I pulled up has Kobe Jones, the guy you just mentioned,
Who's
at
that?
24 for Sacramento.
Is that the Ringer?
No, this is a subsidy of USA Today.
Okay. Yeah, I
The
want to
rookie
look. I
wire.
want to look at Kobe Jones a little bit more, but I hadn't gotten into it yet.
Chris Murray to the Pacers, which is fun.
Because I've seen a lot of Chris Murray around like 17 to 21.
And
I think he'll be gone.
Jaime's 30th in this draft.
Yeah.
So,
I like Jaime. I try not to put those type of restrictions on the young guys like that, but I just always thought of him as more of a second round guy.
he has shot up draft boards as of late and is viewed as a potential late first round pick that can step in immediately and contribute off the bench. He projects to be a good fit here. They have him at 30th with the Clippers, with his scoring and potential on defense, with his 6'11" wingspan, listed at 6'7", 225.
The other thing to think about with these players is the NBA game, while it's tougher with the talent, it is a lot more wide open. And you talk about a guy like Jaime, who was the main focus of pretty much everybody that UCLA went against. Well, he's going to get some wide open looks here, because he's not going to be the main focus. He's going to be a catch and shoot guy, a finisher more than a creator, which is what he was at UCLA. And maybe that helps his game out. Maybe that the simplification sometimes of on the offensive end in the NBA can help out these guys. So I always try to think about that as well.
Is your idea at 24 a role player, like a bench player, or?
I think he'll start off that way this year. The hope is that if I was Monty McNair and I was drafting, I'd be like, we'll just use Bryce as an example. I would be looking at him as a guy that can score, and if everything goes right, he's going to be one of my top scorers in my starting lineup maybe 2 years from now. He's going to be one of my top options. That would be the plan.
Okay.
You kind of know my philosophy on this after we've done, I think, 3 drafts together now. I feel like you can, like you talk about a guy like a glue guy or somebody that, is a defender and rebounder and all that. I feel like you can get those guys anywhere.
Okay.
I don't want to minimize them. Like a guy like Herb
Kinda
Jones.
did.
Herb Jones is really, it's phenomenal, right? So those guys are.
That was a find, though.
Yeah.
Like, that was a find.
Was Herb Jones a second round guy? He might have been.
I feel like Herb Jones was second round.
Yeah, like if you find the right guy, like they're super beneficial to your team. So you need those guys. But I feel like the first round is where you take big time shots at big time offensive talent.